What's happening, guys? Mathematics is back again. You know where we are, so let's get into it. So, touching base with you now in respect of this particular fragrance, and this has come in by Carolina Herrera. And as for those that know, there's been quite a few fragrances from this particular house. Some people do like the preview version of what was released. However, this particular one is a new one from the line, it seems, and this is Bad Boy. So, interesting enough, I'm just focusing on the box because you can see, guys, the box has this type of velvety sort of texture going on. Like, imagine like sort of the inside of a shoe maybe, or the outside of a shoe that's a little bit cheap, but nonetheless I can see what they're doing. They're trying to make it stand out. It's saying it's New York, it's saying it's so good to be bad on the front. Obviously I have your information down there, and this is the bottle. This is a 50ml I purchased from the perfume shop, I think, and I got it for about £40 or so, like that. It's not particularly expensive. The bottle is somewhat interesting. Whether this would really be something that you really want as a guy, slightly, I don't know if the word is avant-garde, or something a little bit out there. It's got connotations of other things as well for those that pick up on what I'm talking about, but nonetheless, this is what it is. So ultimately, guys, you can see again, it's quite a unique sort of design. Some information is contained here, which I think it just says the name, New York, Carolina Herrera, New York, Nueva York, and then you got some information on the bottom just down there. Don't know if you can see that, but yeah, you got some information. So just in respect of the sprayer, also to the people who are out there from Bulgaria and Romania, we're there with you, man. 1st of March, so we got this, been given this by my fellow Bulgarians and Romanians, so a big shout out to you guys. Anyway, so in respect to this one now, guys, so yeah, the spray is really good. You see good distribution there. You can see how it projects and then it comes out at the end. That's what you want from a sprayer. Those ones that give that mist, like Dior Sauvage, for example, I don't particularly like that sort of misty type of distribution. But nonetheless, this is a good bottle in respect of that. The design is leaving it a little bit lackluster in my opinion. It's not really one I personally would want to be carrying around with me if I'm going traveling or anything like that. I just feel it's just cumbersome. I don't believe it really gives... I mean, it's okay if you leave it on your desk like that. It's interesting to see, but it doesn't really stand out to me. It's not really it stands out when you first see it, but it's not really a masculine type of, how could I say, a masculine type of bottle that I would want to really pick up on, but it does stand out. Anyway, in respect of the actual fragrance itself, no breakdown in the top notes. We have some bergamot in the top notes, then we have some white pepper in the top, with some cedar in the mids, and then we also have in the mid some sage. In the base notes, we have some tonka bean with some cacao, and then we also have a final note being that of I believe there's type of suede or some type of leather note in here. For me personally, guys, this fragrance to me smells extremely tonka bean heavy. It seems to focus on, if you imagine like roasted type of cacao or roasted chocolate or even roasted coffee to some extent, with a mixture of this tonka bean. So I think, I don't want to say it's exactly the same fragrance, but it smells similar to the level of tonka bean, and the sweetness that you get from the tonka bean smells to me like Armani Absolute a little bit. Armani Code Absolute a little bit for me. It's just the sweetness that you get. Now for me, the opening is nice, it's pleasant. You get the cacao with this chocolate sort of vibe. I say the tonka gives it this sweetness, but it seems to be very tonka heavy. Unfortunately, excuse me, unfortunately, the fragrance didn't seem to really last longer than about 2 hours for me. It's okay, it's interesting. Again, I didn't pay more than £40, £50, so I'm not particularly bothered about it. But at the same time, it's not really one I would really go out my way for. Probably more of an evening type of scent, maybe more, you wouldn't really wear this in the high heat, put it that way. Probably more for the autumn, maybe winter. Some ladies have said they like it. I mean, I've not had any direct compliments wearing this one, but some women have actually recommended me to do a review on this one. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's a little bit of a gimmick. I don't believe it's particularly going to have any longevity beyond, when you see it maybe on sale or something like that, maybe get it at a discount store, but it just lacks in performance and it doesn't really have any standout note to it for me. I think what's lacking in this one is really the projection, and I think it's also lacking the longevity. If the longevity was there, this one would be a good fragrance, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's pleasant, it's nice. The dry down smell slightly more like, how could I describe it, as a type of like shower gel sort of sweetness, with the tonka bean fades down, but by the time you get to the base notes, you get like imagine tonka bean with some spicy notes on there. That's ultimately what it smells like to me, and that's in the dry down. So an hour into about getting to 2 hours, it starts to become a skin scent, and then you know, it just totally dissipates. So unfortunately with this one, this would mean that you really have to take this one with you if you're gonna wear this. I don't believe this would last for a full day. If I picked up something else, for example, just as an example, not saying it's the same type of house, but obviously a Manico Profumo, easily, you're talking about easily 4 to 5 hours, easily, no problem. Still smelling it even 6 hours on my skin. You can see how much juice I've got left in this bottle, and I've had this one for some time. I've hardly needed to spray it because it does the job so well. But unfortunately, this one, for some reason, this house doesn't seem to understand about projection. The actual Privé version I didn't particularly like. I'm just not a fan of it, but that's just how it goes when it comes to different houses. But it's okay, it's all right. You know, check it out, guys. I just don't feel there's anything groundbreaking. I just feel it's one of those fragrances that, you know, it's so, it pass and something else comes out. We're still waiting for these bangers to come out, guys, so I don't know what the answer is on that one, but we'll see coming up in the next video. And hopefully, guys, I'm gonna start doing some slightly more, some good comments have been made about leaving Zara alone, which I think is a very good point. Let me just see quickly what I can see. Let's have a look. Yeah, some good comments about just move on to different fragrances while I'm just reviewing Zara fragrances, which is not a bad, it's not a bad assertion to make. I think though, guys, when it comes to these fragrances, all this stuff is just, again, it's just materialism to some extent. So I wouldn't get too deep into this stuff. You know, we did Zara fragrances for a while because, again, they were cheap, but unfortunately the quality is not there. So I don't know if I'm gonna just be focusing just on fragrances, but if there's something particularly, guys, that you want me to review, I think the channel could just totally change. We could just call it Martin Reviews, and then we get into different stuff. So I'm talking about languages anyway, so I'm talking about fragrances anyway. Is there anything else that you want me to review, guys? Excuse me. Wow, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Been drinking some of this, but I don't know if that has any bearing on it. But anyway, yeah. So guys, if there's anything else you want me to review, by all means let me know. That's the whole point of these YouTube things. I think my channel is a little bit laissez-faire when it comes to these things, but I don't really care too much. But hopefully, guys, I do appreciate you. So by all means, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.